So once he seen his wife with another man, he was beyond furious. He wanted to take his wife's life, the young man's life, and his life at the same time. So once they went to the side and got into the door, he came right behind them. Once he lifts the weapon up, he pulls the trigger, and all you heard was tsk. So his wife and the young man she was with was startled. When she looked over and realized that it was her husband, she freaked out. She started screaming, but the young man didn't know who this was. He thought that it was somebody that was trying to rob him. So once he kept trying to pull the trigger and it just kept jamming, his wife screams out, "Honey, please don't do this." The young man, looking confused, says, "Honey, oh, this her husband." So he instantly ran towards her husband and started tussling for the weapon. And now they fighting, but she constantly freaking out and screaming. She's not trying to help grab the weapon. Her husband is overpowering this young man. She's screaming, telling them to stop. No, stop, please, stop, please. The young man is only focused on grabbing the weapon, and her husband is only focused on pulling the trigger. So as the young man is getting punched up and everything, he's not trying to let go of this weapon. After the husband get his man a couple good shots, he started realizing, okay, I need to stop focusing on the weapon, and started fighting back. The young man swings his hardest and hit him with a haymaker. Boom. Her husband stumbles and hit the fence. So then the young man kicks her husband's forearm really hard, thinking that he would let go of the weapon. And once he realized that the kick wasn't powerful enough for him to release the weapon, he jumped right on top of him and started swinging. She has her hands on her mouth, jumping up and down, just screaming, "Please no, please no." And now it's about to get ugly. As they both tussling with the weapon, nobody's throwing blows anymore. Everybody's fearing for their life. Now the young man is on top of the husband, and the young man feels like he has control of the weapon now. But the husband feels like he got control over the weapon. Next thing you know, 2 shots go out. Dow, dow. Nobody's hit. But now both of the men start using all their strength and their might, because now they know that the weapon is not jammed anymore. They both feared that if they both was to try to swing, that one of them would gain control and the other one would take over. The husband some way somehow flips the young man to his side. So now both of them on their side and they trying to get up. The husband overpowers the young man, swings him to the ground. Her husband has full control of the weapon now. In complete shock, he looks at the weapon and hurry up and turns it towards the young man. And before he can pull the trigger, the young man tackles him. Boom. Then both of them fall to the ground. Now they wrestling and tussling. The young man comes with a heavy elbow. Pow! And next thing you know, all you hear is 4 shots go off. She sees it but falls back to the hallway because she don't know who just got shot. Her eyes is bugged. Her mouth is wide open with her hands shaking. She don't know who made it out. She's thinking to herself, I hope it's my husband, because this is going to look bad on me. Then she says, I hope it's the young man, because he didn't deserve this. Now she's sitting there froze, because she don't know what to do next. Should she run, or should she go back outside and see who made it out? Now she's thinking she doesn't have that much time, but she needs to make a move fast. So she says to herself, if it's her husband that made it out, he might want to take her life too. But if it's the young man that made it out, she's scared because she don't know how he would respond to this whole situation. Next thing you know, she hears footsteps walking towards the door. She's so scared, heart racing, her legs can't move. She hears the footsteps getting closer and closer. Next thing you know, she hears somebody grab the door. She hears the person trying to open the door. And now she's thinking that it's her husband because the young man probably would have had the door open by now. So as she's getting up slowly, the door pops open. Boom. Her eyes get wider and she takes a deep breath. Slowly coming around the corner, she sees the face of the young man. She's in complete shock. This young man is bloody, covered from head to toe. She says, oh my. The young man looks at her and says, I'm sorry. As she's scared and shaking, she don't know what his next move is going to be. So she says, no, don't apologize. And he says again, I'm sorry. His eyes roll back and he falls to the ground. When he falls, she sees blood just spilling out. Now she's beyond confused because where's her husband at? So she runs over to the young man, flips him over and see where the blood is gushing out at. So now she knows that her husband is the one that pulled the trigger. Now she is more beyond scared because now she feels like she's next. So she slowly peeks her head out the door and she sees her husband hitting the weapon with his fist. And when she exhaled so loud that her husband looked over and he said to her, "Oh, I thought you ran upstairs." So he started walking towards her. Her legs still can't move. And now she's thinking to herself, should I just pray because I know it's over with? Then the husband grabs the young man by his legs and moves him out the way. And now he's in front of the door and he's just staring at her. She's crying and saying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen." He looks at his wife and say, "Honey, it's okay. You will just have to deal with this for the rest of your life." He said, "I'm happy you did this." She stops crying and says, "What?" He said, "I'm happy you did this." She stares at him for a couple of seconds and says, "But why?" He said, "For the last couple of months, I was going to unalive myself." She is totally lost for words, and now she hears sirens. Then she says, "But why?" He said, "Because all the money I invested and all the money I saved, I lost it. We're about to lose our house and we're about to lose our cars. And the reason why I wasn't spending time with you is because I was trying to make sure we got something back." She said, "But why are you just now telling me this?" He said, "I don't know, but I'm sorry." Put the weapon towards his head and pulled the trigger. Her eyes buck, watching him fall to the ground, screaming, "No, no, no, no." She runs to her husband, grabs his head and says, "Baby, why? Baby, why?" She grabs the weapon, puts it towards her head. Next thing you know, a cop comes out of nowhere and says, "Freeze." She says, "No, I'm sorry, I got to." The officer said, "Just put it down." She said, "No, I gotta do this." She takes a deep breath, pulls the trigger. She exhales, takes a deep breath again, pulls it again. And she keeps trying to pull it. And the moment that she goes to the ground and smack it on the ground, 2 officers tackle her. But as they was tackling her to the ground trying to grab the weapon, she points it at another officer. And that officer fires 3 shots. 1 in the jaw and 2 in the neck. And they did everything they could to try to help her, but she didn't make it. If you want more story times like this, type story time in the comments and I got you. Make sure you follow for more stories like this, and to all the cool people that follow me, I'll see you in the next video.